So, big dogs, I told you guys I was going to give you a Cyber Dragon deck profile, and here we are, guys. I even bought the 3 copies of the Cyber Dragon core after testing with this video, or with this deck, because I think it is one of the stronger decks in the game. Cyber Dragon has been a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy since around 2005, and is one of the most underrated Yu-Gi-Oh strategies in the game because of a few new cards that have been introduced quite recently. Today, guys, I'm going to be breaking down everything you need to know about Cyber Dragon and why the deck is a very solid rogue Yu-Gi-Oh strategy. The main monsters for Cyber Dragon is, Cyber Dragon Core. This is still the best card inside of the deck. The only problem with this is that Cyber Dragon Core is mandatory. When you summon this card, its effect must activate. Its effect to be able to banish itself to summon a Cyber Dragon monster from the deck is also really, really strong. So not only is it a good starter, it's an amazing extender when you get into the later stages of the game. Only 2 copies of Cyber Dragon. This is a card that players are dropping down to 1, and you can play 1 copy. I like 2 copies of Cyber Dragon because there are situations where you need to be able to get another Cyber Dragon into your hand, or when you're going second, you can summon Cyber Dragon and put a lot of pressure on your opponent. So I think it's a card that isn't bad to have at 2. I also think that Cyber Dragon Hurts is a card that you play 2 copies of. Some players are playing 3, so your engine can look a lot more slimmed down. And if you guys are playing like a Fiendsmith engine or something like that, let me go ahead and make the Cyber Dragon dual challenge actually live in a second, because it's done, going through all the process that it normally does. But the reason why you play 2 is the same reason why Cyber Dragon. This is a card that you don't mind seeing in your hand because you do have a lot of discard outlets, but also is another card that you play multiple copies of for the grind game. And I played 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Jormungandr. 3 copies of this card was like, it wasn't as good. So in theory, or back in the days, Cyber Dragon was a Yu-Gi-Oh strategy that can only go second, right? Like the deck was not really that good going first. But now the deck is crazy going first, even though it did get better going second cards. Jormungandr is like a crazy good going second card. So if you win the dice roll and you decide to go second, it's not a bad idea because you do play enough cards to be able to facilitate it. But of course, this deck is built to be able to win the dice roll and go first. So just 2 copies of Jormungandr. And then lastly is 1 copy of Cyber Dragon Noxter. Noxter's actually crazy strong in this deck because it can revive out Cyber Dragon, Jormungandr, and the Cyber Dragon itself. So it actually does come up for some pretty big combos. Now, I've seen people play, it's not polymerization, but the card is treated as polymerization, right? And I can't believe, I'm trying to think what the card name is. I think it's Fusion Substitute. That card is actually pretty good. But so the problem with that, though, is that in order for you to gain Fusion Substitute's effect, you have to fuse using cards on your field and on your field only. I think that in certain situations, that can really trip you up. So I decided to go with the more versatile polymerization and skip the draw card. I didn't think that the draw was that much worth it. And then to complete the Cyber Engine, there's 1 Rev System and 3 Emergency. Some people are running the spell card. Ooh, I forgot the spell card's name. I completely forgot the spell card's name. The one that allows you to fusion summon during the battle phase. I think that card is good, and you probably could play it if you wanted to, but through testing, it never really came up. Like, there wasn't a situation where I got deep into my play line and Cyber Load Fusion, I think that's the card name, came up to a point where I needed it. So, just our search targets are Cyber Dragon, Noxter, and Rev System. And somebody did say that I knew someone who made a pure Cyber Dragon deck with no Cyber Dark support. I never even thought of Cyber Dark support not being Cyber Dragon, right? Because there's never historically a time where Cyber Dark was good enough to be like its own deck. Now, granted, there were some players that like tried Cyber Darks way, way back in the day with a level 3 dragon monster, but it was never really a thing. So when I talk about like pure Cyber Dragon, of course there's the Cyber Darks because these are pretty much built for Cyber Dragon. Like you're not going to see somebody playing just a pure Cyber Dark deck and being successful. So there's 2 Claw, 1 Worm, 1 Chimera, 3 Realm, and 1 Horizon. When I meant pure, I meant like no Horus, no Fiendsmith, no stuff like that. And this is still, in my opinion, a pure Yu-Gi-Oh deck. But let me know what you guys are thinking about that. This engine is, it's crazy. So these cards make Cyber Dragon Core a 1-card combo, which I'll show you guys at the end. Cybernetic Horizon allows you to be able to search the cards that you need to be able to combo if you don't have the cards that you need. The only drawback is that you have to play a fusion target for it. I think in a dual challenge, I didn't send the fusion target, but throughout the day, I was sending the fusion target. It gets way crazy when you start playing on dual challenge. When you start playing in front of a camera, it's a totally different experience. This card gives you the additional normal summon. This card gets you Power Bond. This card gets you Cyber Dragon to the graveyard and a 5 special summon. And Cyber Dark Claw searches these cards when your core gets disrupted. I've playtested with other ratios. Like I playtested with 3 Horizon. I playtested with 3 Claw. And I felt this to be the best of my ratio. And then I played 2 copies of Power Bond. The reason why Power Bond's so good is because it's like polymerization. Even when you don't search it, you can use this card to be able to fuel your combos. And it also is a good card to be able to go for game. Some people are playing 1 Power Bond and 1 Cyber Dark Fusion. Let me know what you guys think about that. But this card is searchable, it's recoverable, and it allows you to be able to go into your combo without any problem. So that's what I play for the Cyber Dark part. Then there's 2 copies of Clockwork Knight and Ethereum King Regulus. I absolutely love this card. Drawing this card is like sick because, so if you're going against some of the best decks in the game, you literally can lead with Clockwork Knight and they have to respect this card. A lot of times they have to like negate it with like a Fiendsmith Desiree, or they have to destroy it. And if they destroy it, you just banish it, add the Regulus, discard some of the Regulus. So if they don't respect it, any of your Cyber Dragon monsters become a full board right. So I played 2 copies of this card for that particular reason. You go second, you activate Clockwork Knight, you turn your opponent's cards off. But another cool thing about this card is that it prevents your opponent from going Fiendsmith combo. If you open with it and you activate it, they need light fiends when all their monsters become fiend or machine. It prevents them from doing a lot of malice plays because they need cybers to be able to work with. It actually does a decent amount of things against some of the best decks in the game. So it is more than just a combo piece. It's also a card that is really disruptive. So as you can see, Cyber Dragon is naturally a board breaking Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Like that's pretty much what it does naturally. We decided to complement that with cards that either lower my opponent's ceiling or allow me to break a board. Now, if you guys can't afford Molchummy Flawless, it's perfectly fine. I completely understand. I would probably play cards like 2 Lightning Storm and a Harpy's Feather Duster instead. And then there's 3 copies of Droll. No Ash, no Ghost Bell, no none of that. Because the only thing I want these cards to do is to get me more resources or force my opponent to make a half board. So I thought about Nib, but the problem with Nib is that like it does turn off Cyber Dragon. I guess it does turn on Jormungandr, so you could theoretically still play Nib. And the only thing that it really does turn off is Cyber Dragon. So maybe strongly consider playing Nib now that I think about it. But these produce half boards. And Triple Tactics Thrust, Talent, Cells Band, Called By help you break boards and establish yourself as a player. What I love about Triple Tactics Thrust is that you play it in the deck where your deck is consistent of normal spells, like these particular cards, to be able to get your plays going. So I love it in Yu-Gi-Oh strategies that do that, because it's not just a board breaking like Yu-Gi-Oh card. It's a card that can let you get into your extenders. Now for the extra deck, for some reason I'm missing the light machine monster, Hezvrog, whatever it's called, right? But this is a 14 card extra deck with that. You can pretty much play whatever you want, but the mandatory cards are the Infinity, the Nova. There was a point in time where I was just playing 2 Novas, but to be honest with you, that never really came up. A rank 5 that I really like is the Crystron Venomaly. Vamana. I think that card's pretty decent. The 1 Zeus, the 1 Sky Crisis. This card's pretty mandatory in the deck because it does lock itself into machines. So you can't always make SP Little Knight. You can just make this instead though. The 1 Clockwork Knight. Oh, and getting this effect is actually kind of crazy because there's times where like you want it on the field and you can put enough spell cards to have it on the field, and sometimes you don't want it on the field and you can manage that pretty easily. 2 Chimera Tech Rampage. 1 is for combo, the other one's for going for game. 1 Mega Fleet, 1 Chimera Tech Fortress. This card's kind of stupid. I've made this card quite a few times. it being able to, I think it's attack twice and piercing, right? Or is it just attack twice? Just the 5600 attack twice is kind of crazy at times, and that's why we play so many Cyber Dragon cards. And then the one Eternity, this is your target for your Cybernetic Horizon. But that's pretty much it for the main deck. The combo is really, really simple, big dogs. Delete that whole combo. Here's how you do it, guys. It just requires Cyber Dragon Core. If you have a card in your hand, you make your combo completely nib-proof, but you normal summon Core. You add the Cyber Dark Realm, activate Cyber Dark Realm, get Cyber Dark Chimera, normal summon Cyber Dark Chimera, right? Turn your Cyber Dark Core into your Clockwork Knight. Clockwork Knight sends your Cyber Dark Realm to the graveyard, adds your Clockwork Knight. Chimera sends the Clockwork Knight to the graveyard, adds the Power Bond. Now you can fusion summon using cards from your graveyard. You link summon these two into your SP Little Knight. Cyber Dark Chimera sends Cyber Dark Worm to the graveyard. If you guys have another card to discard, here is where you would activate the Clockwork Knight, discard a card, get Regulus, and summon Regulus on the 5th summon, right? So here, you're going to go Cyber Dark Worm, send the Hertz, add the Cyber Dragon, add the Cyber Dark Realm. You go Clockwork Knight effect, discard the Realm, add the Regulus, summon the Regulus. At this point in time, if you go Regulus and your opponent goes Nib, then you obviously SP the Cyber Dark Worm, and you do wind up on one less interruption. But your combo is still give or take the same thing, right? Why does Worm have a once per duel? Because they hate us. We activate the Therion King Regulus, attaching the Clockwork Knight. I have no idea. Cyber Dark Worm should have been once per turn. Like, out of all of the busted cards that they ever made, it's kind of ridiculous. Then we go Power Bond. You fuse the Cyber Dragon and the Cyber Dragon Hertz. Here is where I messed up last time. You summon the Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. You can use its effect to be able to destroy the Clockwork Knight if you want to. I don't know exactly what that would do. But the most important effect is that you activate the Rampage here. And you want to be able to send cards from your deck to the graveyard so it can attack multiple times. You're going to send the Noxter and the Yermaganther. From here, you use these two monsters for an Exceed summon. You'll make Cyber Dragon Nova. Nova will detach a card to be able to special summon Noxter. Noxter will special summon the Cyber Jormungandr, and then Jormungandr would bounce the Noxter to be able to get Polymerization. Here's where Fusion Substitute does have a problem, because you have to use monsters on your field, and I have to bounce this to get the Polymerization. Next, you'll go into the Cyber Dragon Infinity, and then you'll activate the Polymerization. You'll fuse these two cards into that Cyber monster, the one that negates spell and trap cards. The fusion monster that I said you had to play, but I don't have it in my extra deck right now. I don't know where I put it. And off of one card, you get an SP Little Knight, a Cyber Dragon Infinity, a Therion King Regulus, and a Spell Negate, which I think is pretty good considering that you have 4 more cards in your hand, and it can play around pretty strong cards like Ash, Effect Veiler, Nibiru, and stuff like that. So the card combo becomes a little bit more complicated depending on the situations that you're in, if you're getting hand trapped, or if you have extra cards in your hand and you want to dodge certain other hand traps. But it is still a really, really good combo. You said, I think this can be played with K9 because Cyber Dragons naturally play level 5. I don't even know what, I know if they do, but of course I'm not even paying attention to K9 because they're not out just yet. We are currently focusing on this format, which doesn't involve K9 at this second, which I think will be really good when they come out. But again, I'm focused on it right now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really hope you guys enjoyed the Cyber Dragon deck profile. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and let me know, or ask the community. Let us know down below in the comment section. We'll do our best to be able to answer, and I'll catch you on the next video. Make sure to check out the Duel Challenge.